Titanic, that big old boat that never reached New York. You heard of it? I loved this film so much that I actually went and done the transatlantic crossing from Southampton to New York on the world's last ocean liner. And considering my boat took the exact same route as the fallen Titanic, I got to learn loads about the ship's history through seminars, library books, lectures. But I was on a cruise ship with a drinks package, so I don't remember like 2/3 of the information that I got. But luckily for us, we are talking about James Cameron's 1997 movie adaptation rather than the actual tragedy. So whether you've seen this movie before or you're just curious about the plot, sit back, grab a snack while J-Lei tells you all about it. Heavy spoilers ahead. So the film opens up in the present day. Well, 1997 present day, where a team of curious cats are on an expedition down into the deep depths of the Titanic. Whether it be for greed, information or boredom, these men are on a hunt for historical artifacts in that vessel. And in specific, a big old rock in a necklace dubbed the Heart of the Ocean. And just like myself, no matter how hard they tried, they are never gonna find that heart. But more on that later. What they do find, however, is the plot to this movie. And by that I mean a big rusted safe that was once located in the higher level suites of the Titanic. So after a shimmy and a shake, they break open the safe, but there ain't nothing there, apart from a lovely hand-drawn, beautiful image of a woman. A naked woman. Upset, but slightly aroused, the men almost call it quits on the operation because although they might get a couple of £100 on the black market for this picture, there ain't no bling bling diamond. But the plot twist is, it kind of is. Because the beautiful woman drawn in front of them, she ain't wearing nothing but the diamond. So, change of plan, boys. If we can't find a heart, we gotta find a woman who is wearing a heart. I'm sure she survived the sinking and is still alive after all these years, right? Right? Well, actually, they are right. Good for them. Because after broadcasting their discovery on TV, a little old lady, she looks up at the TV screen and she's like, hold on, pause. Ain't them my titties? Because everyone recognises their own titties, right? I'm assuming. So this old dear, she meets up with the expedition team to, I don't know, I guess prove that they are indeed her titties. Because some of the members of this expedition team, they just are not convinced by her claims. They think she is just out here looking for some last minute clout. So the lads ask her, we want to know two things. How did that necklace come to be on your body the day the Titanic sank? And where in the deep blue ocean is it now? So my little old lady, her name's Rose by the way, she tells them sit back, grab a snack, while Rose tells you all about it.
It's been 84 years.
It's April 10th, 1912, and anyone who is anybody is arriving to board the world's largest ocean liner. Rose, my girl, she comes for money. So she rocks up in some pimped up ride looking all fly and shit with her fiance and her mother, and a couple of other relevant bitches that might become relevant a bit later on. And side note, Rose ain't even that impressed with the ship. She don't even want to be there, but you know, free food and all that. While the upper class are boarding, down at the pub there's a couple of lads playing poker. There's an American drifter named Jack and his little miniature Italian stallion Fabrizio. And it's kind of apparent that the patrons of this pub, they ain't got a lot of money because they're not really betting with cash. They're betting with things like tobacco, jewellery and... Wait, what's that? 2 tickets on the Titanic, New York bound? Well, as luck would have it... Well, actually, incredibly bad luck, but hindsight's a beautiful thing. The boys win the tickets and with nothing but the clothes on their back, they spontaneously jump on board the Titanic. Like I said before, I have done this exact trip and trust and believe it's going to take more than 5 minutes to plan a trip like this. But they thought, fuck it, we ain't got anything else to do on this April 10th day. Plus, Jack is from America, so he's just happy to be going home. So with all our players finally on board, the ship sets sail on its week-long voyage across the Atlantic. So everyone is settling in. Jack's loving life, thinking he's hit the jackpot and thinking he's king of the world, which is in stark contrast to Rose, who is stuck with her pompous family, who are preoccupied being all pompous and shit. Needing a moment away from the tomfoolery of her family, Rose wanders off onto the outside decks where for the first time, she lays eyes on Jack, who's just been chilling there, still loving life, drawing little kids, which is a bit weird, but I'll let it slide. The eye contact, the very first meeting, it was brief. Some might say it was insignificant, but for Rose, it changed her whole damn life. Because that very night, she'd be trying to murder herself. I ain't even exaggerating. Feeling suffocated by her family's oppression, or maybe she's just drunk on the open bar. Rose has decided that she does not want to stay alive and endure this shit for one more day. So she tries to jump off the back of the boat. Well, she gets herself in position to almost try to unalive herself. She just stops a moment as she contemplates, is this really worth avoiding a hangover? Luckily, my boy Jack, he kind of witnesses the whole thing go down, and he's like, what you got to cry about, rich girl? What problems do you have? And Rose is like, oh, more money, more problems. Jack's not in the mood to see anyone unalive themselves on this night because he is on vacation. So he tells her, let me tell you something, Linda. If you jump, I jump. I'm burdening you today. My life is now in your hands. What are you gonna do, sister? And this emotional blackmail actually kind of works because Rose has a change of heart, especially after hearing how cold that motherfucking water is. She's like, oh, I might catch a cold. However, as she tries to climb on the right side of mental stability, she slips and the whole thing goes to shit. Screaming and yelling, causing a riot scene, Jack is holding on to Rose with one arm. Luckily, he has dined on free food for the last 24 hours, so he is strong and energized on this evening. And with whatever strength he has, he actually manages to save her. But all this commotion has delivered a bit of a crowd, and let me say, it does not look good. Lower class Jack is sweating and panting while he's leaned over this poor little panicked rich girl. Trust, it is not a good look. Now, Rose's gang are pissed. They want this man arrested, beheaded, put into foster care, thrown in the fire. But Rose tells them that, hold on, Pauls, Jack actually saved me from me accidentally falling in. Because I'm assuming it would be kind of awkward to admit in front of the person who you were trying to escape from that you're trying to kill yourself to escape said person. So she's like, actually boys, you owe Jack a favour for saving me. The cunning sly fox. So they begrudgingly invite Jack to dinner. And I'm sorry to interject here, but as someone who is more on the financial side closer to Jack than I am to Rose, sit down gourmet dinners are not my thing, they kind of give me the creeps. It is not my lane, sir. I'd rather have some money, some cigarettes, and some alone time with your girl if you're offering. Well, Rose's fiancé, Calvin, he is getting the sense that something is not right. The vibe is off with his fiancé. So he decides to gift her with a present that he was planning to save for a rainy day, but what better time to give her than now? And the gift is the bloody heart of the ocean diamond we've been searching for this whole film. Rose, she is liking the bling. She is liking it a lot. But what she isn't liking is her damn man, his damn life plan, and this man's damn clan. But also, on the other hand, sexy diamond. So Rose is confused and conflicted, so she goes for a wander ponder the next day with her newfound hero, Jack. Now, this is how I know my girl is confused and conflicted. Because one minute she is loving Jack and thanking him for saving her life, and then the next minute she's all pissy with him and she's insulting him, and the poor bastard's like, what the fuck? However, what she can't insult is his art skills, because as his side job, or maybe his main job, Jack, he is an artiste. He loves drawing people, he fucking loves it, he can't get enough of it. No matter if you've got one leg, one tit, no money in the bank, he's gonna draw you. And something to know about Rose is she loves art, and she loves artists. Even on this 7-day crossing, she still unpacked all her artwork to hang on the cabin walls. And you know that's love right there, because when I did the crossing, I barely even unpacked my luggage. Let alone high value art that's obviously been wrapped and stored accordingly. But as I was saying, Jack has piqued Rose's interest. He's creative, talented, doesn't care about money, lives freely, and just so happens to be fit as fuck. And understandably, Jack thinks Rose is the most beautiful entity he ever did see in his life. So they spend the entire day together, comparing lives and living out hypothetical fantasies in their minds. And this is pretty much the first time in a whole movie that we actually see Rose smile, so you can't help but kind of root for him. So as the sun goes down, it's time for dinner. So Jack borrows a suit from the only rich person on board the ship that you don't want to punch in the face. And it seems that she chose that suit good because Jack, he scrubs up well, don't he? And he and Rose have this moment on a staircase when they meet. Oh, the tension, oh, the chemistry, the looks that they are giving each other, looking all fancy and shit. You're like, even though they only known each other one day, this is couple goals right here. They're feeling it, I'm feeling it, but most annoyingly, Rose's man clan, they is feeling it. And Rose's mother, oh my gosh, she hates Jack's face. If looks could kill, he'd be dead. So Jack feels awkward and out of place, surrounded by these upper class people, and then Rose feels awkward for Jack, and I totally get it. Listen, I feel outclassed when I dine in at McDonald's. And I actually think Jack wins over a couple of opinions from the Roseman clan with his like carefree YOLO attitude. And the more he speaks so passionately about his life and his circumstance, oh, Rose can't help but fall deeper and deeper in love with this man. So much so that when Jack's dinner invitation expires, Rose ain't finished getting to know him. So she sneaks down to third class where my man has promised her a real party. Rose, who seems she hasn't been able to experience a single day of fun in her whole entire life. Remember, it was only yesterday she tried to jump off board. Well, she's about to experience the best damn night of her life. Drinks are flowing, music is playing, people are dancing, flirting, competing. It's a whole damn motherfucking vibe. Who wants to figure out what cutlery is what when you could be showing off your ballet skills while drinking cider with a bunch of poor Irishmen? I mean, please. And as a new day dawns, Calvin, Rose's fiance, he finds out about her late night shenanigans and he is pissed. He starts passive aggressively and then he ends up flipping tables and shit. And he's like, Rose, you are not allowed to have no more fun ever again. And her mother's just as bad. She's more disapproving than everyone. Cause Miss Mama Rose, she lets us know that the family funds, they is fucked. They ain't got no more money left. How are they gonna live when they've grown accustomed to this bougie lifestyle? The only way to make that possible is to sell off her teenage daughter. So everyone and everything is trying to keep Rose and Jack apart. But it's a 3-day love affair. The bond is too strong. It cannot be broken. Ma Boy wants Rose to be free to make her own choices. But she can't because she is trapped in her life circumstances. She's trapped on this boat. She is just trapped in every which way a person can be trapped. But once Jack shows her what it's like to be free and flying, it is game over for the Rose that we knew. She has fallen head over heels in love with this man and she wants to kiss his face off. They want this moment to last forever. They plan to make this a night that no one ever forgets. And this is where Rose asks Jack to draw her in her natural bare titty, diamond wearing state. And thus the historic picture is created. Is it a smart idea? Probably not. But she loves Jack and she loves art, so I guess it makes sense to him at the time. And considering how under the thumb Rose is, the Roseman clan, they notice her absence, so they set out in hunting her down. Finding her, they give chase. So Rose and Jack, they are running through the bows of this ship, trying to escape this man. Look, sorry, I do not remember his name. It is not worth it. He's a dickhead. But it doesn't really matter because they managed to escape. And these two lovebirds, they are feeling exhilarated, free, and most importantly, very, very horny. So finding a quiet spot, they give in to their desires, making sweaty, passionate love, and all is good in the world, the end. And it is actually kind of the end because after their sexcapades, Rose tells Jack, I'm leaving this boat with you when it docks in New York, sir. Whether you like it or not, I am with you forever. And I don't know how she thinks she's gonna manage to get away with that, but it doesn't really matter because in that very moment, tragedy strikes. So throughout this movie, we've been getting little snippets of conversations from the crew members. Titanic's maiden voyage needs to make headlines. Titanic can hit New York in record time. Titanic doesn't host enough lifeboats on board. Titanic is sailing into icy waters. Titanic is the unsinkable ship. Well, all these nuggets of information, they come into play right at this very moment because the Titanic clips an iceberg with no time to prepare, causing damage, chaos, destruction, and of course, death. Now, whoever lied to our faces and told us that the Titanic was unsinkable, they is about to eat their words because that ship starts sinking. Water is already flooding the boiler room and the lowest level cabins. The high and mighty, who all reside on the higher decks, they are unaware of this situation, so they kind of just continue living out their daily lives. including Calvin, who has yet to find Jack and Rose, but what he does find is the naked portrait that Jack did. So he gathers as many officers as he can, builds up this witch hunt, claiming that Jack has stolen from them. And we all know that the only thing that Jack has stolen from Calvin is his fiancée. But to add more stock to these allegations, once they finally do find Jack and Rose, they plant the heart of the diamond on Jack. And like I said, the upper class aren't quite aware of the whole situation that is transpiring. All they are focused on is getting this poor scruffy boy's head on a spike. And the framing is actually quite convincing actually. For a second it even gives Rose pause. She's like, I've known this man for 4 days, he can't possibly take my virginity and my jewellery all in one night, can he? And I'm like, fuck the jewellery and your first class problems, this boat is taking a one-way journey to the bottom of the Atlantic. With the crew panicking and making preparations to release the lifeboats, and the fact that the ship's going slightly lopsided, people are slowly coming to the realisation that, oh shit, I might get wet tonight and I did not dress for that. While the high-class women and children are preparing to evacuate, everyone of a lower class has to wait. Talk about putting value on human lives. But yeah, everyone is slowly preparing to evacuate the ship. Everyone is, except for Jack. Because due to the allegations made against him, he is handcuffed to a pipe on one of the lower decks. And because she can't find Jack, Rose refuses to get on any of these lifeboats until Jack is by her side. So she sets out on a mission to go find him, leaving her man and her mum behind. Like, bye Felicia, I cannot be dealing with you, I need to find my 4-day man. It's a risky mission because by this point, a lot of the boat is submerged in water, including a deck that Jack's on. But ain't no water gonna stop her reuniting with the man she loves. So with a quick and very lucky swing of the axe, she actually manages to free Jack. And now that their goal is met and half the ship is underwater, there is a new goal. There is a new plan, and that is to get the fuck off this boat. But because they're on one of the lower decks, they actually have to wait their turn, and all the lower class passengers, they are freaking out and panicking because the crew members are not letting them out, and thus almost positively damning them to certain death. The bloody swines. Because even if they do survive long enough to get to the front of the line, all the limited spaces on the lifeboats are going to be taken. So, desperate to survive, luckily they all join forces and they manage to overpower the crew and take advantage of the situation and free themselves. But unfortunately, they are jumping out of the frying pan into the fire because this whole evacuation process is in total shambles. Lifeboats are leaving with only 12 passengers on board. Lifeboats are falling on top of each other. Men are buying their way to the front of the line. People are getting shot up in this bitch. Mayhem, mama. Chaos. Jack tries to convince Rose to grab a spot on one of the lifeboats, but she just can't bring herself to leave him. So, at one point when she actually does get onto the lifeboat, she thinks, nah, fuck this, I need to get back onto this sinking ship and be with my man. Cause she is petrified that he is going to be left there to die. And although she's a crazy bitch for doing that, she do have a point. It's a dumb move, but love has all of us bitches making mistakes from time to time. Another dumb decision is Calvin is now decided he needs to murder Jack. As if his fate's not already sealed by being on a damn sinking ship. And although his priorities are fucked up, I kinda do see his incentive. See, not only does he want Jack dead, as it stands, Rose is currently wearing a jacket that is holding the heart of the diamond in. Calvin, he don't want to leave the ship without his girl and his jewellery. What will his friends say? By this point, Titanic is certainly doomed. It's half submerged, it's snapping in the middle. All of the exits are either locked or blocked. If you're still on board at this very moment, likelihood is you is gonna die. Crew members are popping themselves off. The captain has succumbed to his fate. The violinists have vowed to play to the bitter end. The poor are drowning in their beds. It is so harrowing to witness. And knowing just how cold this water is, Jack and Rose decide they need to stay on this boat to the very last minute, stay as dry as they possibly can. So they make their way to the back of the boat, which by this point is basically tilted vertical. Everyone is drowning and dying below them as the ship and the ocean keeps claiming more victims. And in the midst of the chaos, Rose has this sudden realization that the end of their story is going to take place in the very same place that it started, at the back of the boat. At this point, me as a viewer, I'm in tears. I'm like, don't add love and loss into the equation with this tragedy already, I can't cope. Anyway, the back of the boat, it is going down fast, and it drags Rose and Jack down into deeply icy depths of the Atlantic Ocean. And now they are in this freezing water, and everyone around them, all the other passengers that didn't get to safety, they are all just like dying and screaming around them. It is petrifying. I mean, luckily they find a floating wardrobe because Jack places Rose onto this wardrobe in hopes to keep her as warm as dry as possible. But there is not enough room on this wardrobe for the both of them. There is some buoyancy issues taking place. So Jack sacrifices his spot, gives it to Rose, and he just stays there floating in the water beside her. And he is reassuring her that she is going to survive all this, that she is going to live a strong, long, prosperous life. She's going to be free and all her dreams are going to come true. While he, unfortunately, succumbs to his fate and the temperatures of the water around him. My man died. Realising that Jack has unfortunately died, as has everyone else around her, Rose decides she's going to take Jack up on his word and she's going to decide to live on this day. But the ship's gone, the lifeboats are gone, and there is no sign of any living human life. That is until a single lone boat comes and returns looking for any potential survivors. And with her last strong breath, she blows on a whistle to alert them of her presence, and she manages to save herself. And that is how Rose, who now calls herself Rose Dawson in honour of Jack's memory, survived the Titanic. And thus the retelling of her and Jack's story comes to an end. And in the present day, it comes to light that even after 84 years, Rose still has the heart of the ocean in her possession. This whole bloody time, it's just been sitting there gathering dust. I mean, do you know how bloody valuable that necklace would be? Old Rose, she now has kids and grandkids, so you'd think that she would sell that shit in order to set up her kids and her future generations' future. But nah, she's like, I'm gonna pop it in the ocean. And I'm not sure why she's done it. I don't know if it's to do with the heart of the ocean going to live with her heart in the ocean. There's some symbolic shit about it that my thick brain just can't register. Either way, the expedition boys got nothing from this journey apart from a terribly sad story from a terribly old lady. And I think they're at peace with that. I mean, there are far worse tragedies than missing out on a payday. With Rose having reminisced one final time about her forbidden brief love, the movie comes to an end with Rose lying in her bed. Now, I don't know if she is asleep or she died, but either way, in her dream or afterlife state, Rose returns to the Titanic to be with Jack once more. It's an epic love story about how two completely opposite people find each other and find love and save each other amidst a real life tragedy. And let me tell you, I'll weep like a professional mourner every time I see it. If you don't believe me, you can go check that out yourself. So if you like the way I relate information and shit, then stick around, because I'm full of shit. Spanking the like button encourages this kind of behaviour, and commenting down below encourages conversation. And what better place to discuss your thoughts, feelings and opinions than here, where I can join in the discussion. And that was me, J-Lei, telling you how it is.